Hey everyone. So while I am a newer content creator to the WoW scene, I still am a content creator, and I think that I would be doing a disservice if I didn't discuss the recent news that came to light. Since the beginning, I've been saying that I am trying to keep things real and pragmatic on this channel, and unfortunately, some very real and very yikes things are happening at Activision Blizzard again. A few months ago, we had the sexual assault and frat boy culture lawsuit that was brought to the public by California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing, and today some crazy and almost inconceivable information was released about Bobby Kotick, Activision Blizzard's CEO. Before we get into the topics, one thing I'd like to emphasize is to try and analyze these situations with empathy. I know that my viewers are nice and empathetic people, but I've read far too many Reddit threads and Twitter threads where people lacked empathy for those who were affected by the massive lawsuit and these recent scandals that were just announced. Let's remember that in the original lawsuit, one woman took her own life because of the harassment and abuse she received at the hands of her superiors and coworkers. In order to talk about all the news that came up today, and there is a lot, we have to go back to the original lawsuit. So for a quick refresher, there is a massive lawsuit that the state of California is currently holding against Activision Blizzard. The TLDR is horrible frat boy culture consisting of sexual assault, harassment, and abuse towards women and other marginalized groups at the company. Fran Townsend, basically a woman version of Bobby Kotick, put out a horribly tone-deaf email to everyone at Activision Blizzard saying that the lawsuit was a distorted and untrue picture of the company. Spoiler alert, it's not. Now, let's fast forward to present day. Bobby Kotick released a video statement today saying,
"In fact, there's an article today that paints an inaccurate and misleading view of our company, of me personally, and my leadership."
Don't those two sound quite similar? What if I were to tell you that they were written by the same person? An Activision representative responding to the Wall Street Journal literally confirmed that Bobby Kotick wrote the email and had Fran Townsend put her name on it because she was one of the few executive level women in the company. And you wonder why they are under such heavy fire for sexual assault and harassment and mistreatment of women and other marginalized groups in the workplace. But wait, it gets better or worse. After that original email came out, Bobby Kotick later on spoke out about that original email and said that it, in Blizzard's response to the sexual assault lawsuit, was quote unquote tone deaf. But it was his email that he wrote. He just put somebody else's name on it. He literally calls his own writing tone deaf, then goes on to plagiarize himself again and do the same tone deaf response, but in video format.
Anyone who doubts my conviction to be the most welcoming and inclusive workplace doesn't really appreciate how important this is to me.
Oh yeah, Bobby? Well, how does having someone else put their name on an email that you wrote, throwing them under the bus, calling them tone deaf, then using the same tone deaf language, work for making your workplace inclusive? Fran Townsend does suck as a person, but you're actually a coward for throwing one of the few women executives under the bus with your own words that you put in their mouth. Also, another thing about inclusivity, in the Fran Townsend email, that's actually the email he wrote, he literally says that the sexual assault stories were quote unquote factually incorrect, old, and out of context. How is that inclusive and welcoming when you don't believe your own employees?
We have a chance to further enhance our culture and be the example other companies will follow.
You know what, Bobby? You're right. You do have that chance. Because every single gaming company out there right now is saying, guys, whatever you do, just do the absolute opposite of what Blizzard is doing in every way, shape, and form, and we can't lose and people will not hate us. In that way, you are becoming an example by having everybody do the opposite. The cherry on top of all of this is that the board of Activision Blizzard are standing behind this devil incarnate. I believe in him so fucking much. Bobby's so great. Our stock is down 25% year to date. Fuck it. We'll back him anyway. Oh wait. He left a voicemail for a former employee saying he wanted to kill them? which was corroborated by multiple people. And then he also personally intervened into having an executive not be fired after the executive sexually assaulted an employee after a night of drinking. Fuck it. We'll keep him anyway.
Any reprehensible conduct is simply unacceptable.
Good job, board. You guys picked a real winner. All right. In some non-Bobby news, Jen O'Neill, who was originally co-leader of Blizzard with Mike Ibarra, aka Quick, quit very abruptly soon after being promoted. That's not new news, but it is new news. It came out today that she was sexually harassed while working at Activision Blizzard and was also paid less as her female counterpart, Mike Ibarra, for the same position. I might not be a business expert, but if you want to promote equality between men and women and marginalized groups in the workplace, maybe you should start by paying them the same wage for the same job when you clearly created a co-leader position to help save your public image after a very horrible lawsuit. Like, how dumb can they be, right? Hey guys, we should promote a very qualified and capable woman who is also a minority and gay to show that we are listening to what people want, but we shouldn't pay her as much. That sounds good, right? Wrong. While bringing up Mike Ibarra, I originally held high praise and some copium for him, because he seemed like an actual gamer. He was doing 20s and good Mythic Keystones and stuff on stream, and he could actually play WoW, and that seemed pretty cool. Then it comes out on Twitter that he hasn't actually introduced himself to the devs of Overwatch and potentially other games once, and also Sloot alluding to hearing different stuff from places all over, which could be a little yikes. Really quickly, since I know this topic will be mentioned as it gets lumped into all these conversations, on the topic of Blizzard replacing in-game things to seem woke as if it will quote-unquote magically fix things, which I see as a comment from time to time, I think this is where people's empathy really falls off for the developers and artists who work on the game, because they're not doing that for us. They're doing it for them. If it makes one employee feel more comfortable because their former abuser's artwork isn't in the game anymore, then I'm all for it. Who knows? Maybe a higher up walked by an artist or a developer's desk and said something grotesque in reference to what they were working on, and that was burned into their mind ever since then. I wouldn't want that in my video game either. On the topic of boycotting Blizzard, Activision Blizzard has a long-standing history of reaching new quarterly earnings records while simultaneously laying off tens of hundreds of employees, all while giving higher-ups big bonuses. Should we mass boycott Blizzard, the first people to be fired are the people that are being most marginalized and affected by this lawsuit. The people in power are responsible for the various scandals surrounding Blizzard, not the devs who work overtime and are paid in gamer gummies and are paid at an unaffordable wage in one of California's highest median rent cost cities. I encourage you to go on Twitter and look through all of the developer tweets, because these are people who pour their heart and souls into the games that they make just for people to enjoy them. And they're tired of all these higher ups fucking up everything for them. I understand that this is a tough conversation to have, and people don't want to spend money on a company who doesn't want to equally spend money on their female and marginalized group employees. It isn't morally wrong to boycott, and absolutely nobody should tell you what to do with your money. Either way, I don't think people should shame other people for boycotting or not boycotting. But this is my reasoning for wanting to still play the game, because I know that many of the developers and the people who work really, really hard on the video game do want you to play it and to experience what they pour their heart and soul into, regardless of who at the top is being a horrible, horrible person that they hope they can exile from the company. I think Nagura summed it up really nicely in her tweet recently. She said, "Once again, improvements to the game we love, made by people we respect and played by the friends we love, are overshadowed by the reprehensible behavior of corporate leadership. All my love goes out to those fighting for a better Blizzard. Something has to give." I personally support the Blizzard employees. A couple months back, I went to their first walkout, was able to talk to a few people and got to hear their story, and it really touched me and made me just want them to have a better place to go into work. I didn't want them to have to go into work and have to deal with everything that we just get the highlights of. But yeah, I did go to that walkout, the first one a couple months back, and I still have my name tag from it. I'm gonna keep it as long as it still works. And for today's walkout, I drove by and did a solidarity, honk, drive by, thumbs up. And everybody went, woo! Thank you all. I'll try to keep up the more regular content soon, but I felt the need to make sure that my voice was heard on this topic. If you'd like to discuss this more, my Discord is linked below, as is my Twitch and my Twitter. Feel free to reach out whenever about whatever. Peace and thank you. Everybody went, woo!